In late June, 70 researchers and farmers took part in a WA Livestock Research Council by invitation study tour to the UWA Research Farm in West Pingelly. On site, they were treated to a broad range of presentations that provided an insight into the extent of projects underway and the degree of collaboration between WA's livestock research community. The WA Livestock Research Council had the event videoed, and these videos are available online on the WALRC YouTube channel. In this video, we find out why blue sky research is important. Luoyang from UWA tells us about gut-brain gene behaviour and what those discoveries might bring.
Luo is very excited about research, and he's going to talk to you about something that he has started, and he actually got funding from the Chinese government to do this here in Australia, which is quite amazing. And we do actually also invest a bit of money from UWA as well. So Leo is going to talk to you about gut, brain, and behavior interaction in sheep. Go for it, Leo.
Thanks, Tom. Good afternoon, everyone. And I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing to be the last presenter for this long day conference. But I'm sure, one thing I'm sure I will try to speak fastly compared to this talkative supervisor to make sure everyone have time to have some drinks before dinner. Okay, so briefly, my project is focusing on study the relationship between the host genetics and the microbiota and understand how do they work together to affect the temperament, the behaviors in sheep. And firstly, I want to introduce why I'm interested in this study and why I'm focusing on the study on temperament, which is, when I come to this shade, this one active example just jumped to my mind. That's a shade we measure the temperament of sheep using different behavior tests, so we're using set up an isolation box, which is a solid wooden box about that big, and we visually isolated the sheep inside for 1 minute, and we're recording the locomotion behaviors and the vocalization behaviors of sheep, and all this job is done by Shane Maloney. Where's Shane? Over there. And it's tricky, when I go through all the recording sheet by Shane, I found dozens of sheep were marked with MF. And I'm wondering, what does it mean? Does it mean my favorite sheep? So I just went to Shane to ask, why you marked my sheep as your favorite sheep? And the genius answer, it makes me impressive. He's just saying, my favorite. I mean the words mother start with mother F. Oh, oops. So that's two extremely different things. So I think he doesn't like to work with that kind of MF sheep. And same as the farmers here, I think no one likes to work with the temperamental sheep who are quite sensitive and more reactive to the regular farm practices, which increase the risk of injury to both farm workers and our sheep. So that's only the negative effects from the behavior side. Think about the physiological side. So when the animals, the temperamental animals exposed to the stress environment, they're easier to be stressed, and they have higher levels of glucocorticoid hormones, which mobilize more energy to handle the stress, which is a waste of the energy that should be used for production traits. So that has been plenty of studies, mainly coming from my lab, with Dominic, has proved that the sheep with a temperament are more reactive to the stress, and they're having a poor reproduction traits, growth performance, and also the meat quality compared to the calm sheep. So which indicates the selection or modification of the temperament to a less reactive way will be beneficial to either reduce the stress of the animals, also increase the production traits. And to do this, I think the first thing to clarify is what are the factors decide the temperament of the animals. And the first thing come to my mind is the genetic factors, which is a couple of tall parents, they had high possibility to have tall kids, and same in the sheep. The temperament traits that has been estimated using behavior tests has been shown to has a heritability changing from 0.2 to 0.4. Indicates a possibility to increase the temperament using the genetic evaluation methods. And as I mentioned, the heritability of temperament traits is 0.2 to 0.4. So what's the other 0.8 to, like 0.6 to 0.8? That's the impacts coming from the environment. We call that epigenetic factors. The epigenetic factors including something like the connection between the mom after the birth, and also the social interactions after weaning, and also the factors like nutrition. And recently, the studies in human and rodents, they found a new like a non-genetic determination for behavior, which is a gut microbiota. So it's a complex ecosystem with the microbes that habitates in the intestine tract. So instead of just being like the passive passengers in the body, the gut microbiota can affect the myelination of the neurons, the production of the neurotransmitters, which is decide like either you are easy to be happy guy or you are an angry guy. And also like it's also affects the neurogenesis in the host brain to decide, and also to affect the social behaviors and the stress responding behaviors. So all, like consideration all these factors, which makes me rise up this project in sheep. So can we also study the synergistic effects between the host genetics in sheep and also the gut microbiota? And of course, in sheep, we have the gut microbiota and the ruminal gut microbiota to see how can they work together to affect the temperament and also the production traits like growth, immune, and the reproduction traits. And so far, this project is in the middle period. What we have done is we have measured the stress response behaviors, learning behaviors, exploration behaviors, like novel objects, which is for the novel objects behaviors like exploration. And we also collect all the blood samples, feces samples, ruminal content samples for like a long list of like genotyping stuff. So, but no data haven't come back. Like it's a project start from like the end of the last year. So, but I'm sure like through my study, the findings for the host genetics will help to or provide some basic information to design a genetic breeding in like sheep temperament breeding. And also, I'm sure we'll find some interesting microbes which is related to the temperament or help to like build up the connection between the temperament, growth, health of the animals. And that kind of like microbes can be used to produce some maybe probiotics to feed the animals. And finally, to increase both the temperament and the production traits, like making our sheep production more ethically, I think the first thing, and also more efficiently, and also the most important, safer for both the farmers and the sheep. So yeah, that's basically my project is. Thank you, everyone.
You said you haven't got any results back yet, but what are the observations you've made? Have you made any observations? Like, I remember in England one time, an old bloke down in the dales of where the prison farms are anyway, but he said sheep with short ears always have a bad temperament.
Oh!
But no, that was just one that stuck in my mind. But has anything attracted your attention with sheep that are off temperament or sheep that are really good temperament?
Yes, so that's basically, that's why the thing I want to do this study. Another thing thanks for this good question. Because like, as you say, someone told you like the sheep with small ears, are they calm or nervous? Maybe true, maybe not. And the thing is like, basically in a more scientific way, what we do is we build up a lot of behavior tests. So what we do, we give the animals a stress environment and we're recording what do they respond. Like if they have like more struggling behaviors when they're locked in a small box or like gets contact with some people like a bad guy. And we recording the behavior responses of the animals to estimate. For example, you have more behavior responses, we think, okay, that should be the nervous animals. But the thing is, like, that kind of test take like really long time. So normally we have the open field arena test, which is also set up here. That takes 3 minutes for each animal, and combined with the isolation box test, which is I mentioned before, for 1 minute. So totally about 5 minutes to finish a test on one sheep. Like if you have farmer, like you have 10,000 sheep, I don't think you are willing to do this kind of test. But with the genetic basis study, what you do, you probably just take a tick of the ear tissue or a drop of blood, and then send the samples to us. We can give you the information, says, okay, this sheep has a high possibility to be calm. Do you want to keep it? Yes, of course. The nervous one, just kick it out. Maybe.
Yeah, could I just ask you the obvious question, I guess, that,
Yeah.
you know, if there's a relationship between the microbiome and the behavioural characteristics of the sheep, how do you know, how are you going to try and work out whether it's a calm sheep causes the microbiome to be in a particular way, or the microbiome is causing the sheep to be in a particular way?
Yes.
How are you going to do
Yeah,
that?
that's a really good question. Just reminded me, like, if we have the eggs firstly or chicken firstly. So same, it's like an interaction system. So that's basically what I'm going to do is to find the synergistic effects, an interaction, which is we're regarding the microbiomes as a single factor, and also host genetics as single factor. Firstly, what we study, we like separate them to two different studies to see like if they are singly associated with the temperament. If yes, we have, for example, we have like 1 or 2 microbiomes that's single, like associated with temperament, and then we come to see the genes, like the genetic basis. If we find 4 or 5 like genes that's associated with temperament, and then we try to using what's called a co-expression network to see does this 1 or 2 microbes also connect with these 5 genes. I mean, if like 100% they are not talk with each other, that means they can't decide the temperament together. But if they can, there's some connection between the microbes and the genes we found. And we will think about how like they are doing some interaction impacts to decide whatever the temperament is.
I was just wondering why the intestine biota and not the rumen, or you know why? I would have thought you were going to say rumen, but you said intestine. So why that choice?
Yes. So the thing is, like in the study, this behavior study for the association between microbes and behaviors comes from the human. Like definitely, we only have one stomach. In our sheep, I do take the sample from the ruminal liquid to get the microbiomes in rumen, and also the microbiomes in guts. Because like the microbiomes in rumen can also talk to the brain through the vagus nerve just in the rumen wheel. So yes, I do that too. Yeah, both. Yeah.
There's some interesting research that's been looked at over the last few years about people who have had FMT, so fecal matter transfers. So people who have had issues with the guts, who've then taken healthy gut bacteria from someone else and they've ingested it through what they call a cappuccino, right? They drink that, and the person then gets the microbiome of the healthy person who gets through the gut issues. Yeah. And also the thing that's been happening too is that the person who's the recipient of this new gut bacteria supposedly takes on some of the personality traits of the donor. So that might mean that your sheep, it could be the microbiome which is dictating the personality. Yes,
that's true. Like I like that study. I also give them some like idea for my study is like, can we like remodulate the temperament, like the nervous sheep, to the common way by giving them the microbiomes extracted from the feces. We're not feeding the feces directly, but if that makes everyone better, so feel better. So yes, that's possible, like application for this project. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dominique, for introducing us, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot more of you.
You're right. Thank you.